human life expectancy as a trend is increasing. Though we are continually confronted with various diseases to fight against and unfortunate events that may come up throughout our lives. One of them is the most common one of all, diabetes. One of the causes of diabetes is due to excessive consumption of nutritious food. Rather than being privileged by an abundance of food as a result of technological development, it is actually attacking our health instead. Diabetes is now rapidly increasing as a chronic disease in our modern society. Once you are attacked by this, you must control the level of blood sugar for the rest of your life. Now then, how does Korean traditional medicine perceive this? A farmhouse in Yangju, Gyeonggi Province. 76-year-old Mrs. O, living here, has been suffering from diabetes for over 10 years. Having collapsed 11 years ago from hiking, she has been suffering from diabetes and paralysis ever since. Due to a sudden attack, half of her body became paralyzed, not enabling her to move around. Since then, she's been having migraines and easily feels tired. Compared to the time of her collapse, she has recouped to some extent. She can now move just enough to carry out general activities and do the housework on her own. This has only become possible since she has taken great care of her health. In fact, it was diabetes which brought about her paralysis.
대변 소변은 어떠세요?
소변은 정상인 것 같아요. 4시간.
Mrs. O only acknowledged this after collapsing from paralysis when her body became paralyzed.
3년 전보다 올해 훨씬 밝아졌어요.
For the treatment, she firstly aimed at recouping the paralyzed status due to paralysis. That is, diabetes was treated after paralysis had been taken under control urgently. The color of blood or eyes have almost returned to the original status. And the level of blood sugar that was to the extent of danger has also declined.
몸이 무겁고 항상 이 반쪽이 내려 누르는 것 같고요. 불편하잖아요. 그러니까 걸음이 불편하고 다리 많이 저렸고요. 한쪽 이렇게 돼가지고 처음에 휠체어 타고 다녔지만 이제 지금 또 그런 대로 지금 많이 좋아졌고 늙어가면서 더 할 줄 알았더니 그래도 낫어요. 많이 좋아졌고.
Diabetes is a disease that occurs when the level of glucose in blood increases abnormally. For a normal person, when food is consumed, carbohydrates in the food decompose into glucose, dissolving into the blood and stored in the liver or muscles. While the level of glucose is controlled in fixed level generally, this does not occur for those with diabetes due to various reasons, and this increases excessively. The glucose, which needs to be utilized as energy inside the body, cannot be used as it should, resulting in high blood sugar, which is then excreted through urine. This is what we call diabetes. Diabetes is a disease that is mainly targeting people in their 40s and 50s. As the amount of food intake explodes and life becomes more convenient, it is even described as an increasing disease of the culture. Due to a combination of excess consumption of oily food, alcohol, cigarettes, and other bad habits, it is currently increasing day by day. Since 1980, the number of diabetes patients in Korea has been increasing rapidly. While the record stated 450,000 patients in the 1970s, this has increased to 4 million in 2000. It has been proven that 1 person out of 10 is said to be suffering from this disease. This subsequently has been contributing to an increasing number of deaths. Compared to 1983, the record stated 4.3 deaths per 100,000 people. This had increased to 22.6 deaths by the year 2000. Over a year, the number of deaths is currently reaching 10,400. Even in the USA, diabetes is also considered a serious disease. According to a report by the American Medical Association, 1 person out of 1,000 is exposed to the dangers of diabetes, and it is shocking to acknowledge that 1 person out of 3 currently suffers from diabetes. The seriousness of diabetes lies in its potential medical complications, since it can often induce other sicknesses. Starting from gangrene of the feet, it brings about renal failure, respiratory and nerve paralysis, and loss of eyesight due to the extent of resulting cerebral paralysis. The common disease that occurs in diabetes patients is gangrene on the feet, which hinders the circulation of blood in both the hands and feet. In this case, it is since the flow and purity of the blood is irregular. When it is chronic, the feet can even become rotten. For diabetes, it is most important to acknowledge it as quickly as possible. The most common symptoms are becoming thirsty frequently, overconsumption of food, frequent and heavy amount of urination. Furthermore, it would be worthwhile to suspect diabetes if their weight drops at the same time. And even though you tend to eat excessively since you're always lacking energy, you still feel restless and your body always tired. However, people tend to overlook these symptoms. It is often very rare for them to have a checkup, and so most patients tend to reach a serious circumstance.
당뇨병이라고 하면 보통 말 그대로 당뇨, 뇨가 달다. 그래서 소변으로 단 성분이 나온다. 이렇게 일반적으로 볼 수가 있지만 정확하게 얘기를 하면 혈액 내에 포도당의 수치가 정상보다 높음으로 말미암아 여러 가지 질병을 유발시키는 그런 병을 말합니다.
In Korean traditional medicine, diabetes is called a disease symptomized by thirst. It was referred to as a disease which damages organs, since the body fluid gets consumed and disappears completely as heat and fire is created. While general hospitals link diabetes with a problem in the pancreas, Korean traditional medicine analyzes it as a reduction of pancreas function due to an acceleration of the liver function. The vital energy flows vertically on the back. This place is called 폐수혈. This is the point which brings about vital energy of the major organs. Negative pressure therapy is applied here in order to enhance the vital energy of the organs that have become weakened. As well as the negative pressure treatment effect, conditions of the internal organs can also be verified through the color of these marks. For instance, if the organ condition is not healthy, the mark appears rather black. Though in Mrs. O's case, color was not a problem, since the function of her internal organs was in the status of improvement. Acupuncture is applied after negative pressure therapy on the same spot. This is usually done to stimulate the liver, spleen, and stomach through acupuncture. In the case of early diabetic patients, accelerated functions are usual. Hence, in this case, those functions will need to be reduced to their normal status. Nonetheless, in the case of Mrs. O, once diabetes had occurred for a long time, the problem occurs as these functions have weakened. Applying acupuncture to this point is due to enhance their function and strengthen them at the same time. Once acupuncture has been applied, the body needs to be stimulated continuously for a greater effect. Recently, and for this purpose, electric acupuncture is applied most frequently in Korean traditional medicine field. This treatment is excellent, as it stimulates continuously via electricity after acupuncture is applied to enhance the organs, including the liver, that had been weakened by diabetes. As shown, through acupuncture and negative pressure therapy, Mrs. O is therefore preventing herself from dangerous complications as a result of diabetes. The standard of judgment for diabetes blood sugar is over 126 milligrams per deciliter on an empty stomach and over 200 milligrams per deciliter 2 hours after eating. In Mrs. O's case, it had dropped to a normal status of 178 milligrams per deciliter. A Korean traditional medicine clinic in Seoul.
전체적으로 지금 많이 피곤하시죠? 예? 언제 저 피곤하세요?
Diabetes is a disease that progresses gradually.
오전, 오후.
However, since it doesn't show externally like pain or heat, it is usual for people to seek hospital very late.
이 심장이라든가
And it was the same case for 50-year-old Mrs. Lee.
혀 안쪽이 지금 태가 많이
The coating of the
벗겨졌거든요.
tongue has been removed, and there is a scar where it had been split on the surface. This is a symptom of diabetes. Especially the capillary vessel had been congested, and the white part of the eye had become yellowish. If this gets worse, the patient could very well lose her eyesight due to damage to the retina. The capillary vessel of the eye links to the ears, but it tends to be congested in diabetic patients. Since the peripheral part of the body becomes worse, the symptoms can also be found from the ears. There was a great distinction of blood status between a normal person and a diabetic patient. While it was as clear as water for a normal person, it appeared like a thick sugar sauce for a diabetic patient. Usually, erythrocyte is separated one by one and moves through small vessels. However, in the case of Mrs. Lee, erythrocyte is in big lumps. This occurs due to a high fever. We could also see that in Mrs. Lee's blood, there were a lot of shaded portion lines, as her liver had become exhausted. While she had been suffering from diabetes for about a year, Mrs. Lee had not yet acknowledged it until now.
병원들을 안 가요. 처음에 이런 증상이 있으실 때만 이제 또 가게 되는데
A Korean traditional medicine diagnostic machine called an automatic palgang tester was approved by the American Food and Drug Administration last year. This is a machine that can find the cause of the disease through an active response to the minutest stimulation of the body. The automatic palgang tester helps to find the cause of diabetes through a thorough test to see whether the function of the internal organs are excessive or weak, and whether the body is cold or it has a fever.
한의학에서 당뇨 치료는요, 결국은 우리 인체 내에서 생긴 혈열을 어떻게 치료해 주느냐에 따라 다르거든요. 혈열이 생기게 되는 원인은 우리 몸속에 기름진 음식을 너무 많이 먹거나 술, 담배를 많이 하거나 스트레스를 많이 받아서 생깁니다. 이것을 어떻게 빨리 해소시켜 주느냐가 관건인데요. 특히 간이라든가 심장 쪽에 혈열이 많이 생깁니다. 이 혈열을 치료할 때 우리가 거기에 적절한 한약재를 쓴다든가 또 침이라든가 뜸을 통해서 우리 몸속에 생긴 혈열을 빠르게 해소시켜 줍니다. 이런 것이 한의학에서 그 당뇨를 치료하는 가장 좋은 치료라고 할 수 있습니다.
In Mrs. Lee's case, acupuncture is applied to reduce the arising of unnecessary fever toward the upper part of the body and treat the circulation of vital energy and blood. This is the way the body gets balanced from top to bottom. Diabetic patients are required to take various precautions. Acupuncture cannot be applied to just any points, since the bleeding that may occur during acupuncture could bring about a permanent lesion. Since these patients have low immunity, extra precaution against infection needs to be taken during acupuncture. Moxibustion is an effective treatment for Mrs. Lee since her body is weak and cold overall. This is applied above the navel, where all vital energies are assembled. For these patients, moxibustion is not applied directly on the skin, since it is common for them to take a long period of time to recover in case they get burned. Thus, a mediating object is put between the skin and moxibustion material to prevent burning. Diabetic treatment through herbal medicine concentrates on extracting poison and heat. Also to strengthen the function of the kidneys and liver by supplementing fluid between them. For those patients whose circulation of blood around the peripheral is irregular, medicine is especially used to enhance the circulation. Medicine is also added to improve digestion for those with weak organs overall.
근데 이제 한의학에서 치료 방법이 이제 보법과 사법이 있습니다. 보법은 특히 이제 같은 침을 놓더라도 방향에 따라서 보사가 좀 나뉠 수 있고요. 약물을 쓴다든가 또한 뜸을 놓는다든가 하는 것은 우리가 보법인데요. 몸을 따뜻하게 보호하고 따뜻하게 해주는 것들은 이제 보법으로 이제 우리가 국한하고요. 사법인 경우는 침을 놓는다든가 내지는 부항을 떠서 체내에 생긴 나쁜 노폐물 사기를 빼내주는 방법을 우리는 사법이라고 하거든요. 지금 이명숙 씨 환자 같은 경우는 왜 보법을 썼냐면 몸이 굉장히 냉하면서 지금 허한 당뇨로 오셨기 때문에 뜸을 놓는다든가 약물 처방도 우리가 보법을 할 수밖에 없었고 침 치료도 방향에 따라서 보법이 되기 때문에 저희가 보호사의 개념을 도입해서 보호하는 방향으로 저희가 자침을 한 것입니다.
When treating diabetic patients, it is also important to purify the blood. This occurs as glucose remains in the blood rather than being absorbed. In order to purify it, helium neon laser therapy is applied. By inserting a laser beam inside the vessel, it prevents the formation of anal bleeding and improves blood circulation. This method is helpful to recoup from diseases of infection and immunity, and is also effective in removing poisonous substances accumulated in the blood vessels. For diabetic patients, it is common to have rot on their feet due to irregular circulation of blood, and since they have low immunity to germs. In extreme cases, they may even require surgery. They may experience severe pain and even cracking due to water eczema, thus putting them in even more danger. To prevent this and care for the feet, treatments have been carried out, especially carrying out massages to stimulate vital energy, hence helping them to enhance the circulation of blood around their peripheral parts. Since diabetes is caused by excess consumption of nutritious food and lack of exercise, there is no better prescription than exercise. In a Korean traditional medicine clinic, low-frequency exercise machines for obesity treatment are also used. Other than this method, 30 minutes of aerobics is reported to be half as effective as the treatment.
당뇨 환자분에 있어서 운동의 중요성은 새삼 말할 필요가 없는데 그 이유는 운동을 하게 됨으로써 우리 몸에서 그 혈당을 조절하는 천연 약물이 나온다고 보시면 됩니다. 그 높아졌던 혈당이 낮아지고 또 오장육부가 강화되는 그런 역할을 하기도 합니다. 일단은 그 좀 하기 쉬운 운동부터 산책이라든지 가벼운 조깅이라든지 이런 쪽으로 좀 자기 몸에 맞는 그런 운동들을 접근하시는 게 가장 좋습니다.
Cases of diabetes have increased as our living style has improved. Diabetes is not an incurable disease. Patients can live without pain if it is properly treated at all times and living habits are reformed. Korean traditional medicine approaches treatment by taking the decline of internal functions into consideration as a result of diabetes. From the past, food has had the same essence as medicine. Thus, it has been used as a prevention and as a treatment method for those suffering from chronic diseases. Well then, what types of food will be effective for diabetes? One of the major foods is doenjang stew, made of fermented soybean paste. It is a traditional fermented food that is good for spleen and stomach function, as well as enhancing blood circulation. Once doenjang has been absorbed in water, add vegetables. Vegetable fiber is good for diabetes, for it has low calories, and since it can control blood sugar. Now boil it, adding mushrooms. Mushrooms are effective in purifying blood and controlling blood sugar. As well as for diabetes, bean curd has been proven to be effective for all kinds of diseases and in strengthening spleen and stomach function. For diabetes patients, salt control is most important. Hence, moderation of salt is crucial when cooking. Another effective food is miscellaneous rice. As these full fibrous foods get digested slowly and absorbed into the body, they can prevent a sudden increase in blood sugar. Add wheat, glutinous rice, hulled millet, red beans, and boil in water. This will have a greater effect if tangleweed, which is effective in relieving congestion, is also added. Diabetes patients should take care to eat food that will not harm the pancreas, such as fibrous food, types of seaweeds, and mushrooms. Food, therefore, can be as effective as medicine once nutrients are taken in balance through a continuous dietetic treatment.